No pressure until there's tons.
This is the gnarliest thing I've done in years.
Go, 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 go!
Look at that, all absolutely cruising. Oh, am I dying of that? So I think this is where the jumps get a bit tasty.
Oh! What the fuck?
Had a hat somewhere, because this is going to be pretty rough under here.
I don't know where your hat is.
Oh, here. Yeah, sure, thanks. You can wear it if you're comfortable.
Get this thing off.
My word.
Can you take a sip here?
Oh. So these trousers have like this zip. Looks ridiculous. Is ridiculous. Honestly, that's pretty nice. Wow. So I just got fucking humbled. Oh my god. Greg, at the top, you were saying how you weren't that confident, not that confident, but you were like, oh man, what am I going to do? And then you're going back flip the step up. What the fuck's that about?
No, but I wanted to at least have a warm-up run. That was what I was nervous about. And
If you hold it real close, if
to
you could.
just jump into any line and just try and ride, and at least try and like ride good.
Yeah.
You know, be filmed and you look like a puzzler, right?
Dude, well, welcome to my world.
The full trail. I don't know the full trail speed of Dirt Merchant. That's why I wanted Remy to go in front of me, but yeah, that was cool. It's good. I mean, both my shoulder muscles are pretty sore right now because obviously I didn't really warm up and went straight into it. And I tried it yesterday. I tried to flip it and I rode the front wheel, so I knew I needed to pull it really hard to make it. So
We so basically for those to fill the audience in, we're here doing the K-Day podcast. We get a run in, we talk some shit. We're here courtesy of Maxxis. You're obviously a long-time sponsor, and they've very kindly had us here. But if you can hear some music blasting in the background,
yeah,
that's what that is. But there's so much I want to talk to you about riding bikes, about kind of, I don't know, because when we were riding down that and the moments between Blind Fear, I was like, I'm okay at riding bikes. I love riding bikes, but I'm not really a hooker. But it feels like you're like this amazing wheels on the ground technician. But you also, a couple of years ago at Darkfest, you were sending some big stuff. Is that being a hooker something you've always been a sleeper in, or something you've grown into?
No, I grew up racing motocross, and all through my motocross years, I always had a BMX, and so I love digging dirt jumps and going riding dirt jumps, and as I got into mountain biking, I did a lot of dirt jumping. And living in the UK, I had a teammate, Steve Gill, who was this incredible dirt jumper, and we hung out a lot, and that was our training, just to go dirt jumping. A great excuse back then to train. So I've always loved jumping, but I'm just really embarrassed right now because it's I don't get to or for the last at least 10 years, I haven't really had a lot of time spent on like bike parks, just jumping and having a good time. You know, it's always training and racing, but I promised my teammates that I'm going to put a bit of effort in and try and get some style back and go jumping again.
Because last time we spoke, you just done your first week in the office at Norco.
Yeah.
How was your first year now, or basically first 6 months of not racing been?
You know, taking on this new challenge, a new role, it's been an incredible experience. But I haven't got to ride as much as I would have liked. I'd still like to go out on a gravel bike or spend some time, you know, just keeping fit. But that part of it has had to slide a little. And so I feel I'm not riding enough bikes. I still test quite a bit. I still ride a lot of downhill. But I'd like to spend a bit more time. So that's been pretty tough. But as a whole experience, it's been super rewarding. You know, watching Gracie and Lena step onto the top step of World Cup podium is incredible. It's incredible for the team, but it shows that the platform that we've created really does work and help the riders succeed. So it's been an amazing year so far.
Well, it has been. Do you feel in some ways, I think vindicated might be too strong of a word, but rewarded perhaps, that you come in maybe, you know, in terms of the way that you spoke about, and Norco had this like, appetite for shaking things up a bit, perhaps. Yeah. I imagine throughout the teams, it might have like ruffled a few feathers, but it's quite vindicating seeing Gracie put it on the top step multiple times.
Say that again. I couldn't really hear it. It's quite loud. Sorry.
I'm gonna just lean across and
I heard
shout.
half of it.
Yeah. You know, when it's just fucking loud.
It's loud in the back.
But I'm just gonna do some shouting and we'll.
Yeah.
AI can fix anything. That's what we're going for.
It sounds fine in the.
Yeah, I just couldn't hear what he said.
You know,
Not showing my age or anything. I mean, hearing's fine.
when you came in and like with Norco Race Division,
Yeah.
and there was this very like this appetite and understanding you were going to do things differently.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was like offended, but they probably did ruffle a few feathers about in the paddock about what are they going to come in and start winning, and then to do so with a young athlete, Norco being Canadian brand, young Canadian athlete, it must have been really rewarding.
Yeah, it was. We have done things a little bit different. It's also like, I guess some people have gone like, what can you do different? And it's maybe just the experience and being in the sport for so long, being able to find these ways to slightly adjust stuff, to support the riders more. And to have Gracie really excel this year and it's shown that what we're doing works. So no, it's been super cool. It's we say it's rewarding, but I've been fortunate enough to be on the podium and to be on the top step a few times, and it's an amazing feeling. And you're so thankful for everyone around you and everyone that's helped you get there. But it's there's so much more emotion and so much more gratitude when you can see like Gracie getting up there and everything we've done to try and help and support her. It's like a real dad moment almost. Like but to me it's been super special. It almost feels like when you win a race, it's when you're on that top step, it's for sure it's emotional and you've worked hard to get there. But when you working around the clock to get someone else and you're not quite sure if they're going to do it, and it's up to them to try and put it all together, which is incredibly hard. You're working towards something that there's a lot of like potentially things that could go wrong or ifs, and then pass it all over to this rider to then nail it, put it all together. So it's super cool. It's an incredible experience.
Do you think with athletes sometimes to make it to the top you have to be self-effacing, maybe never resting on your laurels, but actually having been on both ends of it, is it a case of when you're part of that management structure, part of that team family, you can maybe actually appreciate their bigger journey more than maybe they can in that moment as well? You've seen how far they've come and how much work, and then maybe they always want to prove themselves. They're thinking about the next time, and you're already thinking like, but you should have seen how far you've come.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I would have seen, and probably the wins would have probably been a little bit more meaningful if I'd worked within a team prior. You come up, if I look back into my career of racing, it was my dad and my parents supporting, getting me over to Europe, and then, hustling around to try and get from race to race. And, I was on an African development program from UCI, which helped me out quite a lot in my younger years. And you build up, and suddenly the sport grows and you're on this big team and then you're winning races, but you don't really understand what's all happening behind the scenes. At least I didn't as a racer. And to now be entrenched in that part of racing, I would think that you'd see a lot more riders breaking down on their podium if they worked in a team prior to racing.
One thing, another way that we're actually talking yesterday, so the dissector launch, new tyre, this dissector seems to have borrowed in no small part from the Assegai. In terms of, we're calling it like the baby Assegai.
Right.
And it's a really good tyre for running on the back on an aggressive bike or running on the front on a short treble bike.
Yeah. I haven't actually had a look at it. Is this it?
That's the boy, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's very Assegai-esque.
Yeah.
When we talk about like developing or like, helping other people get good results, one thing that Letters and I were talking about is, so in other sports, you develop something, you work really hard, you make it really good. That doesn't then get given to half the paddock.
Yeah.
But with the Assegai, a tyre that, it's like there were the Minion years and then there were the Assegai years. Was it kind of strange or frustrating to develop a tyre, get it really good, and then it rolls out to all your biggest rivals because there can only be one winner?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I haven't thought about it like that. I was just really proud of a tyre that I drew on a flight, and I put a lot of effort and research into it, and the riders enjoyed it, and it's been around for some time now. I was just really kind of honored to be a part of a project like that, and to have a tyre that's lasted so long in the line, and to me, I really thought of competitors getting it, but I kind of always had the feeling like if everyone's on the same equipment or relatively similar equipment, it gives a better race, and you don't want to beat someone because you got something completely different that they don't have access to. I don't like to win that way. But obviously you're trying to find the edge and work within the equipment and boundaries we have. But I think if you had something completely different than I have access to, I kind of feel like that's I don't know how I'd feel about winning because of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think on the other half you could say it'd be nice if there was a world where everyone had the resources to develop what they thought was the best.
Yeah.
And when we're not in that world, I think that's very fair. The name Assegai, am I right in thinking that means spear?
Yeah, so we wanted to try and link it back to Africa in some kind of way. And I'm by far the least creative person there's out there, and I just couldn't think of anything. And so we're like, spear, and then it's like, oh, there's an Assegai spear. And it's a traditional spear from the region of South Africa I'm from. And then it got mixed up and changed and made some good names as well, and some funny comments on Pigbike, but it's all good.
There is one name which we know, which lends itself very well.
And maybe that's not a bad thing, right? You'll remember it for something.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't know. I think mountain biking is small enough and still kooky enough that we've got to have some weird fucking in-jokes, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
When, as you kind of come through, I've heard rumours that bike that you're on, that Norco you're on, is looking more finished than ever.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be committed to a production one at some point?
There has to be a production line at the end of this. I mean, there's been so much research and development gone into it, and testing and racing. It would be sad if it didn't. Yeah. So there has to be an end goal of a production bike.
And as your big business guy, big business, do you think the value to Norco is be able to have this, flagship downhill bike ridden by, like I said, essentially really marketable people that people want to be like, they want to see win? Do you think their value is that, or do you think it is? Do you think they can make money back on a downhill bike nowadays?
I'm sure there must be some financial gain to making a downhill bike and selling downhill bikes. And if you look in Whistler, how many downhill bikes there are, rental bikes and all other bike parks around the world. I mean, there's a lot of people riding big bikes now, not necessarily racing downhill. I think where a brand like Norco really benefits a lot is all the development that's gone into this bike and all the testing, understanding the demands of a downhill race bike, then goes back into production bike. There's stuff that we're learning as we progress with our bike that now will fundamentally change the handling of probably most bikes. And I think that's the real benefit to building better handling bikes for the consumer. I mean, a bike that you feel more confident on, it's a bike that you're going to enjoy more, and you're going to probably ride a lot more. You're going to be kind of attached to that brand forever. So if we can get and I believe if we can get you a bike that you're more confident on and you love riding it, I think you'll keep buying that brand of bike for times to come.
As you kind of think about the future, it feels like you've got a very young team in Norco in a lot of ways, both in terms of the team itself, but also the riders. It feels like the thing at the moment that's getting a lot of traction with the audience is it's like this hardline style event, very different. It feels like it's really nailing down this spectacle aspect, and managers, I think, to kind of tell a bit of character of the riders. That when Grace turned up to Hardline Australia, they can see that she's this absolute hooker and she sends. As someone that's obviously got the benefit of hindsight, going through a career managing injury over the years, a team manager, but also someone that wants the athlete to be as comfortable and as fulfilled as possible. How do you feel about sending your riders after middle of Wales, piss wet rain, 90-foot gaps?
Yeah, Gracie didn't go to the Hardline Wales, right?
I wondered that.
And it was something that was going to be really hard for us as a team, because we knew Gracie's goal was to do both hard lines and to win both. And but then we knew the risks and the potential risks involved. I mean, it's quite clear that you can get really badly injured in hardline. But we didn't really need to have that conversation with Gracie. She decided herself that she's in contention for this World Cup. And we were waiting for the 6-week for a break earlier this year. We'd set a date on when we're going to decide how we approach it with Gracie, and she actually came to Alan Mulway, who's our team manager, and just said, I'm not going to do hardline. I need to focus on World Cup racing. So she made that tough conversation a lot easier for us. But it's definitely one, if you look at the World Cup and and you don't make it in the points, enough points, and you're not a guaranteed team going into 26. So we need to make sure as a team that we've got the points. And so if we have another rider injured, we really had a few injuries this season. If we had Gracie injured, it would make things a little trickier for us.
It feels like with all there's a lot of like salacious and some, I don't know, I think people really like to get worked up about the state of World Cup downhill. There's some stuff that's fair, some stuff that's like, I think some changes are probably necessary, and they've got this big project in mind. It's always felt like you've had quite a pragmatic view when it comes to the changes. How do you feel about currently what we have as World Cup racing in 2025?
Yeah, 25 has been quite a change. Even though we had a relatively similar format in 24, this year has changed a lot. And I really like the new format. I think it's a way fairer format, and I think and I haven't actually looked into the numbers of it, but I feel like generally there's a little bit more consistency on the guys in the final, and a better flow and consistency into that final. But the racing changed a lot, and I think it's a combination of, the tracks aren't getting less technical. The tracks are just as technical as they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, but we've got way better tires. We've got better suspension, better bikes that fit the riders. So the riders are riding fast, but now they've also opened up the speed of the tracks, to try and bring down, I guess, the race time to fit into the TV slots. And I think, I'd prefer to race a shorter track with a bit slower speed and have like sections of track where you can slow it right down, but also have high speed, because you need a mix of everything. And I think this is the biggest and hardest change for the riders is now you've got this really high average speed to deal with. So it's times are really close, super tight, and you've seen a lot of big crashes, and that's the side I don't like to see.
Do you think that's down to? I worry. This is someone that has, just from an outside perspective, it must be quite hard to, if you don't get through Q1 into Q2, your nerves might be kind of a bit jangled and fried. Do you think that the load on riders is heavy and that's contributing towards crashes, or do you think it's the style of track?
I don't necessarily think it's a load. I think it's, I think the riders know that they have to push really hard. And, you go and do like a great race run or qualifying run and you don't make it through, that Q2 is going to be all like, you're pushing way beyond, and I'm watching some of the guys really pushing the limits in Q2 to get into that final. And it's just, I think it's so competitive now and so close that although it's quite exciting, I still think maybe it would be nice to have a bit of separation to actually be able to notice where the riders are pulling away, where, try and find a difference between the riders. Where right now, everyone kind of looks the same.
And one last question, as we kind of look out to this season growing, and obviously world champs, Danny Hart in your team.
Yeah.
How's Danny kind of settled into this? It feels like he's on a really great bike, he's on a really great program. I think he might even, I've heard him say in other interviews and stuff that hasn't always been the case. He hasn't always been on the right bike at the right time.
Yeah.
Is he building in the team, do you think? Kind of finding his feet?
Yeah, it's been interesting with Danny, and I felt like a lot of responsibility in the beginning of the season. I think racing in 24 and developing the bike at the same time kind of stalled the development of the bike. I feel like I'd done so much, and then, you kind of go, well, yeah, you're 42 years old. Maybe it's just you. First time I saw Danny on the bike, I was like, I can see the problem, and it's exactly where I was aiming for everything. So luckily we got a great team at Norco that, jumped on things straight away. It takes time though. So I feel like on our women's side of the pit, a lot lighter, maybe not pushing so deep into the bike where it's pushing, making a lot, generating a lot of force in like a really hard corner, lighter rider. We're on the guys, it's, they're creating a lot of force and so we're just trying to get that handling sorted out so the bike can push forward rather than sap some pace. So I felt like Danny had a slow start to the season because of it, and I just didn't want him to lose confidence through it, So we've been working on sorting out. And I think this next phase of racing will hopefully see Danny Hart starting to come up for Champeray. which is exciting.
Which is very exciting.
Very exciting. And he's excited for it, and he can do it, you know. Although he might not seem to have been having the season he's wanting or expecting, but when you look at it like a percentage, it's not like he's far off on a percentage time. Maybe in time and position is exaggerated a little bit because of the racing so close, but he's not far off.
Well, honestly, I'd hope it'd be amazing, like full circle.
Yeah,
to see him.
It would be great to see a win.
Cool.
Yeah.
Lettuce, is there anything important that I'm missing?
Well, like speaking of full circle, we've got the flip here. I'm just baffled. If you were to show Greg real quick, did you expect to be doing it? When did you decide you were gonna flip?
Well, you
got,
dude. I thought it was. I think meant the flip. I think meant the step down after the drop.
Oh, come out a ride.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said just leave a little gap in case I stalled out and crashed. So, yeah, it's a lot better than yesterday. Yesterday I rode the front wheel a little bit, but I thought, you know, I'm having such a good time in Whistler, and I was, you know, we're at the Revolver launch out on a media day yesterday, and so I missed all A-line and practice, and Owen from Fox was like, oh, showed me this video of him backflipping the step up, and I was like, you know, my goal is to do one backflip a year. That's it. Just stay young by doing one flip a year. Although my wife disagrees and hates every time I attempt to try.
Well, we won't publish this anyway, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that'll be amazing. You know, I've got to do this ride with you guys today. Maybe I'll surprise them. So that's why when you said you wanted to do some other trail, I was like, damn, let's go back to doing
I saw that. I was like, I think like the fan of me was like, I'm going to ride fucking tech with Greg Minnaar. This is the and he's like, can we go ride A-line? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, A-line? And now I understand. And you know what? You were right. I take it back.
But it was like, you know, and then we had pressure on because Elliot Jackson joined in.
Yeah.
We had Remy in there. And all,
can I just say, at the top, I've got fucking Greg Minnaar and Elliot Jackson being like, oh, what's this? I'm worried I'm not going to be trail speed. I'm like, if you've got the problems, what the fuck am I going to do?
Well, it's landing on me because I was like struggling with pain. I don't know the run too good. And, but yesterday I thought, well, let me just go and try a flip. Haven't done one this year, so maybe I'll send it. And I haven't flipped that down on bike either. Oh, clipped in.
Yeah.
Never clipped in. So like when I'm jumping and playing around. So I was like, there's a few variables here. Let me give one a go. So I gave it a little pull yesterday and rode the front wheel pretty heavily. But I was like, that's enough. So that's why I wanted to do a warm-up run because I hadn't ridden today, and that was my first run down Dirt Merchant.
What a warm-up.
So that was a great warm-up. Both shoulders have pulled muscles, but that's okay. It came out all right.
Lads, I saw before the moon booter at the bottom, I saw this guy and he had like a blue like highlight on his top, and I was like, my hands are being worked away to hooves. And I was like, oh my god, they stopped, thank fuck. And there was just a mass of people. And then like this other guy like came up and I got unclipped and I just started like, I couldn't put my foot anywhere and I just started sliding down like backwards, and I was just like, this is been a really humbling experience.
It was an entertaining run. I mean, I had Elliot shrieking behind me. He's the funniest guy to ride with. He's like, he makes so many noises. It was... Yeah. But then you had Remy. I mean, he's got all these different lines down the bottom, and I'm like, that's where I lost probably 3 of the 18 seconds in A-line, missing that, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
Well, hey, thank you very, very much for coming on the K-Day podcast.
Yeah.
It's been great having you. Thanks to Maxxis for having us.
And thanks for doing your yearly flip.
Well, yeah, no, thanks for putting the pressure on to do the yearly flip.
We'll
I needed some. Yeah, for sure.
Make it work.
For sure.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.